Hi, Jamie here. So we are very, very lucky to have loads of interesting broadcasters with us. Some of those are big businesses, some of those are schools, and others are local stations like GENX Radio. Speaking of which, they launched at the start of this year and already have amassed thousands and thousands of listeners, including the attention of businesses in their area. Not to mention, actually, they've got about a dozen presenters or so already and growing. So they were kind enough to do a short video on the why and how of this, how the actual station came about, with the help of Radio.co. So without further ado, here's James Hazell from GENX Radio.
About June of last year, I found myself on air for various reasons, too long and boring to go into now. Bottom line is, there I was, at 58 years old, thinking, what do I do now? Could I maybe learn to drive a truck? Sounds like fun, right? I could be a driving instructor.
Whoa, for Christ's sake!
I could be a bus driver.
Look out! Clear!
I had no formal training of any of these things. The only thing I've ever done in 35 years of working life is radio. So why don't we build a radio station, I said. How hard could it be? So we did exactly that. And I'm delighted to report to you that GENX Radio Suffolk went on air on the 22nd of January 2022.
GENX Radio Suffolk, where music is just better. GENX Radio Suffolk, across the county, across the world. Suffolk's GENX Radio.
Reaction's been fantastic, and thank you so much again for all the comments that have come in regarding our little project. But many have said, how did you do it? Can we have a little studio tour? Can we see some of the equipment? You're very needy, aren't you? But I'm happy to oblige. And I'll do a series of videos because I think anybody could do this. People say, well, radio, is it a thing anymore? Yes, it's a thing. Do people listen anymore to the radio? Yes, they do. But online internet radio, that doesn't really count, does it? Yes, it does. So I'm going to do a series of videos about the technicalities of what we've done here. And we're pushing the boundaries of technology a bit, it has to be said, enabling us to be on the air, live for 12 hours a day, automated in the rest, with genuine, actual live presenters. And I know what you're thinking already. Oh, radio stations are all automated these days. Are presenters really a thing? Yes, they are. And I can prove it. People have commented on how great the music is, and thank you. Nice to be of service. But how do you explain that our listening figures are a lot higher when we have live presenters on than when we are automated? It's the same music. How do you explain that? Because radio is still a thing. It is still valued. People do want a friend. They do want company. And if you do it right, you can get an audience. You can maybe sell a few adverts, make a couple of quid, and become an actual proper functioning radio station. I'm going to show you how I did it. So there'll be a whole series of videos on what has been, even for someone with 35 years experience, a huge learning curve. Oh, all sorts of things that I didn't think would be an issue. They were an issue. We had to solve them. So I'm going to do a whole series of videos on that for those who want to, get under the bonnet of radio, if you like. If you just want to have a little tour and see how we do stuff, this is the video for you. So let's have a look around. This then is the GENX Radio main studio. This is the hub, the central pillar of the operation. This is where that studio that we built for less than 1,000 lives, and that is what I use every day from 9 till midday, and it's fully covered realistically in the video that we made about a year ago now, and there's all the kit that goes with it. So nothing much has changed there, but let me tell you what's exactly involved. First thing to say is not all the shows come from here. In fact, only one show comes from here. That's mine. But we have live shows, and we have 5 of them a day. How have we done that? Here's what we do, and this is how you can score. These days, broadband has got to something of a moderately reliable state, enough that you can do something with it. So we thought, here's what we can do. Because when we start, we're not going to be able to pay presenters. We're going to ask for volunteers. And that means they're not going to want to spend a fortune on fuel. They want to do it in an environment that they're comfortable with. They don't want to take hours out of their day on the road. So why can't they do it from home? And that's exactly what we pursued. We developed software and a system by which they are able to connect to our main server here and broadcast their show from, frankly, a laptop and a decent microphone. That's all they need to present their show. And you may think, well, that's not like a proper studio, is it? How do they manage with that? Well, let's have a word with our breakfast presenter, Tim Goth, who did exactly that.
Hello, I'm Tim Goth, and I present the weekday morning breakfast show on GENX Radio Suffolk between 7 and 9. And welcome to my remote studio, which I've decided to house in my summer house. This is the garden studio just north of Bury St Edmunds in Suffolk, where I sit every morning and broadcast not only to the county but worldwide as well. And for somebody that's worked in commercial radio for 25 years, it's kind of mind-blowing how little equipment you need these days to actually reach your audience. GENX Radio Suffolk playing you Culture Club and Time Clock of the Heart. Good morning to you, Tim Goff at breakfast with Francesco's in St Matthew Street, Ipswich. You bring the hair, we have the style. Very windy across Suffolk again today as Storm Franklin moves across the country. Some blustery showers this morning, but brighter later on with sunny spells and a maximum temperature of 10 degrees Celsius. To quickly show you around my setup here, you'll note that I have no physical mixer here. I work with a virtual mixer, the voice meter here, and routed through that is both the microphone and also Picard, which is our playout system. We've got the playlist loaded there, we've got hotkeys for jingles and the like, and all of that is routed through our streamer, our butt streamer, sponsored by Radio.co. Thanks, guys. Also in front of me, you'll notice a screen here which contains the latest weather information, the latest news from East Anglian Daily Times. We've got travel and also all text coming through to the studio. I have another screen above me so I can keep an eye on our social media channels as well and react to listeners getting in contact with the show every morning. Does broadcasting on GENX, an internet-only radio station, feel like real radio? Well, yes, the equipment is completely different, but absolutely it feels like real radio. Not only can you see reaction to your show coming in real time via the text and via social media channels, but where it really came into focus for me was the recent Storm Eunice, where we turned the whole output of the day over to what we dubbed as Storm Watch, and we kept Suffolk abreast of all the latest travel situation, the power cuts that were going on over the county. We could keep them updated in real time and with information being fed back to us both via our team working behind the scenes and also our listeners as well. It was an amazing service for a station that in effect was only 3 weeks old, and to be thrust into that and get such a great response from the people in our county and beyond, to be fair, was quite frankly incredible. And I will wholeheartedly endorse radio delivered through the internet via its various mediums.
Tim Goff, 7 till 9 every morning, top man, and sounds fantastic from his summer house studio in Bury St Edmunds. That's the other beauty of this remote broadcasting affair. We are focusing on the county of Suffolk, where we have presenters live every day from Ipswich, Bury St Edmunds, Leiston on the coast, North Suffolk in Thetford. We're all over the place. Even the big radio stations, those that are still left in Suffolk, there's none. There aren't any. Can't cover anything like that ground. We're all over the place. Another great advantage of remote programming. And it's all done with the simplest of software. And I'll have a full explainer video on how you do that. So it all comes into here, into the server and the switching software, which I made myself, but it's really quite basic. It's easy to do. And automatically that switches from feed to feed, either to live or to automation through the night. Does it like that. So all the program feeds come into this room here, and these servers down here, and then of course are distributed. And that's the next big question. Once you've got your team in place, and they're all ready with their laptops and their mics and maybe their studio equipment to broadcast, how do you get it out to people? This is a tricky one because it's tempting to find a very cheap hosting provider. And certainly when you're doing your test transmissions, you can do that. You can put it on one of those and see how it sounds. When it comes to the real deal, though, different kettle of fish. Because advertisers, if you're looking to attract advertisers who will keep you in business, they're going to want to know stuff. They're going to want to know that their ads are going to be broadcast in great quality, reliably, and they're going to want statistics. They're going to want listening figures. They're going to want times when people are listening. Very few providers do that. Hence, we chose, and this is all being run on an absolute budget, don't forget, but there are some things you can't skimp on. Hence, we had a conversation with Radio.co. These guys are fantastic. They get it. They know what we're about. There are other suppliers that we engage that just not really that bothered. And, well, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Radio.co, oh, my, you send them a problem at Sunday night. They won't thank me for saying this, but they will go out of their way to solve that there and then. They're a vibrant young team. They know radio. They know their stuff. And one of our first test transmission responses and feedback was the sound quality. And I'm not lying when I say to you, many said, how come the sound quality of your stream is better than BBC local stations? Well, I'll tell you exactly why. Because we can control the amount of processing, and there'll be a full video explainer on the processing, the crucial audio processing, and secondly, a really high quality stream. So right off the bat, you're sounding like the big boys, you're better quality than the big boys, and you've got a really reliable, full of feature streaming company to back you up.
And just before you go, how would you like to launch your very own online radio station? Surprisingly, it's a lot easier than you may think, and the absolute best way to get started is by chatting to myself or another member of the Radio.co team. Just head to Radio.co/book a demo to schedule a video call with us, where we'll discuss your plans, answer your questions, and of course guide you around the software. Or click on the link here to take your first step into launching your very own 24/7 global radio station.